I am Marilee Hemp, and I am a stay-at-home mom of two wonderful children who we get the chance to homeschool and spend time with. I am not a native of Greenville, but have been here for 8 years and love it. When I was pregnant with my son, who is 3.5 now, I had a lot of acid reflux, which is common, obviously, with a lot of pregnant women. However, after he was born, it didn't go away. And I actually ended up in my gynecologist's office about 6 weeks after he was born, thinking I was pregnant again because I was having so much nausea and things. And they said, no, you're not. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I started taking Zantac and it helped. So apparently my reflux was exhibiting that way to begin with. Then it continued to just get worse and worse. We tried everything and nothing was working. We said, well, what's the next option? We changed gastroenterologist, talked to somebody else. So she said, well, the only thing you can do is go have surgery.
Marilee's symptoms were a little bit more unusual, not the traditional presentation for somebody, because she presented with a mixed clinical picture that resulted in several tests to help sort out whether we were heading down the right path with surgery for her or not. We have a conference in where we meet every other week to deal with challenging patient scenarios, where we get a meeting of the minds, if you will, of those with a medical background as well as a surgical background. And then what we do is establish one plan for every patient with very challenging clinical findings. Marilee Hemp had a procedure called magnetic sphincter augmentation, or for short, we call it LINX, L-I-N-X. And this is where a ring of magnets are placed around the lower esophageal sphincter, the valve between the esophagus and the stomach. And in many patients with esophageal reflux or heartburn, that valve doesn't work correctly, and we need to strengthen or augment that valve. Marilee's surgery is performed in an outpatient basis, meaning the goal is to come in the morning, have the surgery, go home later the same day, or perhaps an overnight stay for observation. Fortunately, after thorough evaluation and a successful surgery, she has a great clinical outcome and has been significantly rendered heartburn and regurgitation free of her symptoms.
Dr. Katari and his team are awesome. Recovery has been basically just taking back a life, which has been an amazing gift. It wasn't like, oh, well, it just made it a little better, but it totally took away everything. I had pain kind of in my chest with acid reflux. My stomach would just ache. I would have a lot of times where I would just be nauseated, and I've had none of that since then.